What if Issei was Jinchūriki of Yasaka and proposed her? Issei Hayato was having a really bad day, and that was putting it lightly. Blood dripped from the wound in his stomach where the spear of light had pierced through him. He stumbled backward, his vision going blurry as he looked up at Rainier, or whatever her real name was. The girl he thought was his girlfriend stood over him with black wings spread wide, laughing at how pathetic he was. "Did you really think a loser like you could date someone like me?" she said, her voice dripping with mockery. "You're just a human. A weak, powerless human who happened to have something sealed inside him that my superiors want dead." Wait. Sealed inside him? What was she talking about? Issei tried to speak, tried to ask what she meant, but blood came up instead of words. He fell to his knees in the park, the evening darkness seeming to close in around him. This couldn't be how it ended. He was only 17. He hadn't even held a girl's hand for real yet. And now he was dying because some crazy fallen angel pretended to like him. "Don't worry," Raina said, forming another spear of light in her hand. "I'll make this quick. Can't have whatever's inside you trying to save you." She raised the spear, and Issei closed his eyes, waiting for the end. But it didn't come. Instead, he felt warmth spreading through his body from somewhere deep inside his chest. It wasn't the warmth of blood or life fading away, it was something else. Something powerful and ancient and very, very angry. "How dare you!" The voice that came from Issei's mouth wasn't his own. It was feminine, mature, and carried a weight that made the air itself seem heavy. Golden light erupted from his body, and suddenly he wasn't in control anymore. He was a passenger in his own skin, watching through his eyes as something else took over. His hand shot up faster than should have been possible, catching Rainier's light spear before it could strike. The weapon shattered like glass against his palm. What is this?" Rainier stumbled backward, fear replacing the cruelty in her eyes. "This energy, you're not supposed to be able to manifest yet." Issei felt his body stand up, the wound in his stomach closing with golden light. 9 ethereal foxtails made of pure energy materialized behind him, swaying in a wind that didn't exist. His eyes saw everything with crystal clarity now, the fear on Rainier's face, the 3 other fallen angels hidden in the trees around the park, the way the supernatural energy around him bent and warped. "You attack my host over petty orders from your masters?" the voice said through Issei's mouth. "You dare try to kill this boy who has shown me nothing but kindness in the 17 years we've been together?" "Yasaka," Rainier whispered, her face going pale. "But you're supposed to be sealed. You shouldn't be able to take control." "I am sealed," the presence Yasaka said coldly. "But you hurt him badly enough that I could slip through the cracks. And now you'll pay for that mistake." What happened next was over in seconds. Issei felt his body move with impossible grace and speed. Fox fire, brilliant golden flames that burned with supernatural heat erupted from his hands. Rainier tried to dodge, tried to fly away, but those 9 tails whipped out and wrapped around her, holding her in place. "Please," Rainier begged. "I was just following orders," Azazel said. "I don't care what Azazel said," Yasaka interrupted. "You tried to kill an innocent boy. You hurt my Issei. For that, there is no forgiveness." The foxfire consumed Rainier completely. She didn't even have time to scream before she turned to ash that scattered in the wind. The 3 hidden fallen angels fled immediately, their fear so strong Issei could practically taste it. Then, just as suddenly as it had taken over, the presence retreated. The golden light faded, the tails disappeared, and Issei collapsed to his knees again, gasping for air. The wound in his stomach was gone, healed completely, but he felt exhausted like he'd run a marathon. What just happened?" he wheezed. "We need to talk, Issei." The voice was in his head now, soft and gentle instead of angry and powerful. Issei looked around the empty park, wondering if he was going crazy on top of everything else. "You're not crazy," the voice said, and he could almost hear amusement in it. "I'm really here. Inside you. I have been since you were born." "Inside me?" Issei stood up on shaky legs, looking down at his own hands like they belonged to a stranger. "You mean like a parasite?" "Not quite." There was definitely amusement now. "It's complicated. But you're in danger out here, and you need rest. Go home. Lock your doors. Tomorrow, when you're safe and rested, I'll explain everything. I promise. Issei wanted to argue, wanted to demand answers right now, but his body was screaming for rest. The adrenaline was wearing off, and he was crashing hard. Almost on autopilot, he stumbled out of the park and made his way home through the dark streets of Kuo. His parents were already asleep when he got there, thank God. He didn't know how he'd explain the blood on his clothes or the dazed look he knew was on his face. He barely managed to hide his ruined shirt in the back of his closet before collapsing into bed. Sleep came fast, pulling him under like a wave. When Issei woke up, he wasn't in his bed anymore. He was standing in what looked like a massive shrine complex. Traditional Japanese buildings with red pillars and curved roofs surrounded him. Cherry blossom trees were in full bloom even though it was fall, their petals drifting through the air. In the center of it all was a palace that seemed to glow with its own inner light. Welcome to your mindscape, Issei. He spun around and froze. Standing behind him was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. She looked to be in her late 20s or early 30s, with long blonde hair that fell past her waist and golden eyes that seemed to see right through him. She wore an elegant kimono decorated with fox patterns, and 9 golden foxtails swayed behind her gently. Issei's brain was trying to process what he was seeing. You're Yasaka? She smiled, and it was warm and kind. I am. Though I suppose I should properly introduce myself since we'll be spending a lot of time talking now. She bowed formally. I am Yasaka, leader of the yokai in Kyoto, the 9-tailed fox of legend, and you're Jinchūriki. My what now? Jinchūriki. It's a term from another culture, but it fits. It means you're my host, the human vessel that contains my power and soul. Yasaka gestured around them. This is your mindscape, the space between your consciousness and mine. Here, we can talk freely without anyone listening in. Issei sat down hard on the ground, his legs giving out. This was too much. Yesterday he was just a perverted high school student whose biggest problem was that girls didn't like him. Now he had a literal goddess living in his soul. Why? He asked. Why are you inside me? What did I do to deserve this? Yasaka's smile faded into something sad. She sat down across from him, her tails curling around her body. You didn't do anything, Issei. Neither did I, really. This happened when you were born for one reason, to protect both of us. Protect us from what? From those who would use my power for evil, Yasaka said quietly. And from those who would kill you for having the potential to house that power. Let me explain from the beginning. She took a breath, gathering her thoughts. 17 years ago, I was the leader of the yokai faction in Kyoto. I had a daughter, Kunu, who was still just a baby. Life was complicated but good. Then I received a prophecy from an oracle I trusted. She told me that within a year, enemies would come for me not to kill me, but to control me. They would use my daughter as leverage, force me to become a weapon for their wars. Issei listened, fascinated despite his confusion. I couldn't let that happen, Yasaka continued. I couldn't let Kunu grow up in that danger, and I couldn't let my power be used to hurt innocents. So I sought out a solution. There's an ancient ritual, older than most supernatural beings alive today, that allows a powerful being to seal themselves inside a human host. But it has to be done at the moment of the host's birth, when the soul is new and flexible enough to accommodate another presence. So you... Issei's eyes widened. You sealed yourself in me when I was born? Yes. Your mother was in labor at Ko General Hospital. I appeared in spiritual form, invisible to humans, and performed the ritual. You were born with me already inside your soul. Yasaka looked at him with those golden eyes. I know it seems selfish. I bound myself to you without your consent, made you a target for anyone who could sense my power. But I also gave you protection. My power, my knowledge, my strength, it's all yours as well. Does that mean I'm like a supernatural being now? Yes and no. You're still human, Issei. But you're a human with the power of a divine beast inside you. Think of it like... She considered for a moment. Think of it like you're a car, and I'm an extremely powerful engine installed inside you. You're still a car, but you can go much faster and farther than normal cars. That was a weird metaphor, but Issei kind of got it. So what happened last night? That was you taking control? Yasaka nodded, looking guilty. I'm sorry for that. Normally, I can't take control. The seal keeps me contained inside your soul, and I can only lend you my power when you consciously call on it. But when that fallen angel hurt you so badly. Her tails lashed in agitation. You were dying, Issei. Your soul was starting to separate from your body. In that moment of crisis, the seal weakened just enough for me to take temporary control and save you. You saved my life, Issei said slowly. Of course I did. Yasaka looked offended that he'd even question it. You're my host, Issei. More than that, you're the person I've been with every day for 17 years. I've watched you grow up, watched you struggle and laugh and cry. I've been there for every moment of your life, even if you couldn't see me. Did you really think I'd let you die? There was something in her voice that made Issei's chest feel tight. She actually cared about him. This ancient, powerful goddess who'd been trapped inside him his whole life actually gave a damn whether he lived or died. Thank you, he said quietly. For saving me. And for, I don't know, not being evil or trying to take over my body permanently or whatever. Yasaka laughed, a sound like bells chiming. The bar for good behavior is very low, I see. But you're welcome, Issei. They sat in silence for a moment, cherry blossoms falling around them in this strange mindscape world. Issei had about 1,000,000 more questions, but one seemed more important than the rest. What happens now? He asked. That fallen angel Rainier, she said her superiors wanted me dead because of you. Are more of them going to come after me? Yasaka's expression turned serious. Probably. The fallen angels, the devils, the angels themselves, they all know about Jinchūriki, and what we represent. A human with the power of a divine beast is either a valuable asset, or a dangerous threat depending on who you ask. Now that I've manifested, even partially, the word will spread fast. So I'm screwed. Not necessarily. Yasaka leaned forward. You have my power, Issei. With training you could defend yourself against almost anything. And more than that, you have me. I can teach you about the supernatural world, about how to fight, about how to survive. You won't be helpless. Issei thought about that. His whole life, he'd been weak. The perverted loser that everyone made fun of. But now he had power, real, genuine power. The kind that could let him protect himself, and maybe even others. Okay, he said, making a decision. Teach me. I don't want to be weak anymore. I don't want to almost die because I was too pathetic to see a trap coming. Yasaka smiled proudly. That's the spirit. We'll start slow. You need to learn to sense and control your energy before we move on to actual techniques. But Issei? Her expression softened. Don't call yourself pathetic. You survived 17 years with a divine beast sealed inside you, drawing attention from supernatural predators, and you're still alive and still kind. That takes strength most people don't have. Before Issei could respond to that, he felt something tugging at his consciousness. The mindscape started to fade around him. You're waking up, Yasaka said. Remember, you can come back here anytime by meditating and focusing inward. I'm always here if you need to talk. Wait, Issei said as the world dissolved. Will I see you again? Like actually see you, not just in my head? The last thing he saw was Yasaka's gentle smile. Yes. Once you learn to manifest my power properly, I can appear beside you in a spiritual form. It won't be true freedom for me, but it'll be nice to see the world again through my own eyes. Then Issei was awake, lying in his bed with morning light streaming through his window. For a moment, he wondered if it had all been a dream, but then he felt a warmth in his chest, right where his heart was. A presence that was both foreign and familiar. Good morning, Issei, Yasaka's voice said in his mind. Morning, he thought back, then realized how weird it was to have conversations inside his own head. So this is my life now, huh? I'm afraid so. But look on the bright side, you'll never be lonely. You've always got me for company. Despite everything, Issei smiled. Yeah, his life had just gotten incredibly complicated. He was apparently a target for every supernatural faction out there, and he had a goddess living in his soul. But you know what? Maybe that wasn't the worst thing in the world. He got up and got ready for school, trying to figure out how to act normal when nothing was normal anymore. As he put on his uniform, he noticed something different in the mirror. His eyes looked sharper somehow, more aware. And was that a faint golden glow deep in his pupils? That's my energy resonating with yours, Yasaka explained. Don't worry, humans won't notice. But supernatural beings will sense you're different now. Great. So I'm gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Not quite. The seal keeps most of my power contained. To supernatural senses, you'll just read as a human with unusual energy. They won't know what you are unless I manifest again. That was something at least. Issei grabbed his school bag and headed downstairs. His mom was making breakfast, humming to herself. She smiled when she saw him. Morning, sleepyhead. You got in late last night. Was the date with your girlfriend fun? Issei's stomach dropped as he remembered. Rainier was dead. Gone. Turned to ash by the power of the fox goddess inside him. He'd killed someone, or at least, his body had while Yasaka was in control. You didn't kill her, Yasaka said gently in his mind. I did. And she was trying to murder you, Issei. It was self-defense. That should have made him feel better, but it didn't. Not really. Still, his mom was watching him with concern now, so he forced a smile. Yeah, it was fine. We actually decided we weren't right for each other. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. His mom gave him a sympathetic look. There'll be other girls, I promise. If only she knew the truth. Issei ate breakfast on autopilot, his mind racing. How was he supposed to go to school and pretend everything was normal? How was he supposed to sit through math class when he had a divine fox living in his soul? One step at a time, Yasaka advised. Go to school. Act normal. We'll figure out the rest as we go. So that's what Issei did. He walked to Ko Academy like always, met up with his friends Matsuda and Motohama like always, and tried to ignore the fact that his entire world had changed overnight. But of course, things couldn't stay normal for long. He was halfway through lunch when he felt a weird prickling sensation on the back of his neck. Someone was watching him. Someone supernatural. I feel it too, Yasaka said, her mental voice tense. There's a devil nearby. A powerful one. Don't panic, just stay calm. Issei looked around the cafeteria casually, trying not to seem suspicious. That's when he saw her Rias Gremory, the most beautiful girl in school, sitting at a table across the room. She was staring right at him with those blue-green eyes, and even from this distance, he could see the interest on her face. She can sense you, Yasaka said. Or rather, she can sense me inside you. Devils have sharp senses for unusual power sources. What do I do? Nothing yet. Let's see what she does. Rias Gremory is known to be fair and honorable for a devil. She won't attack you in public. But as Issei watched, Rias stood up and started walking toward his table. His friends noticed her approaching and immediately started freaking out. The prettiest girl in school, coming to talk to them? This was unprecedented. Excuse me, Rias said, her voice smooth and confident. You're Issei Hayadu, correct? Yeah? Issei tried not to sound as nervous as he felt. Can I help you? I was wondering if you'd like to join me for a conversation after school. There's something I'd like to discuss with you. Her eyes flickered briefly with an unnatural light. Something important. This was it. This was a devil recruiting him or threatening him, or whatever devils did to people like him. Issei's mind raced, trying to figure out how to respond. Trust your instincts, Yasaka advised. And remember, you're not powerless anymore. If she tries anything, I've got your back. That gave him confidence. Issei met Rias's eyes and nodded. Sure. Where and when? The old school building, room 3A. Right after classes end. Rias smiled, and it seemed genuine. Don't worry, Issei. I just want to talk. I promise you're not in danger. She walked away, leaving Issei's friends staring at him in shock. Matsuda grabbed his shoulders and shook him. Dude! What was that? Why does Rias Gremory want to talk to you? I have no idea, Issei lied. But inside his mind, he asked Yasaka, what do you think she wants? Probably to recruit you to her peerage, Yasaka said thoughtfully. Devils can reincarnate humans as devils using special pieces called evil pieces. You'd gain demonic power and become part of her servant group. It's not a bad deal for normal humans, but I'm not normal. Exactly. You already have my power. Becoming a devil might interfere with our bond, or worse, it might give Rias's family access to me through you. We need to be careful. The rest of the school day dragged by painfully slow. Issei couldn't focus on any of his classes, too busy worrying about the meeting with Rias. When the final bell rang, he made his way to the old school building with his heart pounding. Room 3A was at the end of a long hallway. Issei knocked on the door and heard Rias's voice call out, "Come in." He stepped inside and stopped short. Rias wasn't alone. There were 4 other people in the room: a white-haired girl with a cold expression, a black-haired girl in a school uniform, a blonde guy who looked like a pretty boy, and a small white-haired girl who was eating chocolate. "Welcome, Issei," Rias said from behind a desk. "Thank you for coming. Let me introduce my peerage. These are my servants and friends." The word servants made something in Issei's chest bristle with annoyance. Or maybe that was Yasaka's reaction bleeding through. "I'll get straight to the point," Rias continued. "I can sense that you're not fully human, Issei. There's something powerful inside you, something old and divine. I want to know what it is, and I want to offer you a place in my peerage." Issei felt Yasaka's presence in his mind, watching and listening. Time to see how good he was at negotiating with devils. "Before I answer that," he said carefully, "I have a question. What makes you think I need a place in your peerage?" Rias blinked, clearly not expecting him to push back. "Because you're in danger. Fallen angels attacked you last night. We sensed the battle. As a human with unusual power, you're a target. But if you become a devil, you'll have the protection of the Gremory family, and in exchange I become your servant." "My valued servant," Rias corrected. "I treat my peerage well, Issei. You'd have power, protection, and purpose." It was tempting. Really tempting. But Yasaka's words echoed in his mind. Becoming a devil might interfere with their bond. And more than that, something about the idea of being a servant didn't sit right with him. "I appreciate the offer," Issei said slowly. "But I need to think about it. This is kind of a big decision." Rias frowned slightly. "I understand, but time may not be on your side. If more fallen angels come, then I'll deal with them," Issei interrupted, surprising himself with his confidence. "I'm not as helpless as I look." For a moment, the room was silent. Then Rias smiled, and it was approving. "I can see that. Very well, Issei. Take your time to think it over, but know that my offer stands, and my door is always open if you need help." Issei nodded and turned to leave, but Rias's voice stopped him. "One more thing. Whatever is inside you, it's powerful enough that I can feel it even through whatever seal is containing it. Be careful. There are beings in this world who would kill to possess that kind of power." "I know," Issei said quietly. "Trust me, I know." He left the old school building and started walking home, his mind whirling. So devils wanted to recruit him, fallen angels wanted him dead, and who knew what else was out there waiting. "You handled that well," Yasaka said approvingly. "You didn't agree to anything, but you didn't make an enemy either. Smart. I learned from watching political dramas with my mom," Issei joked weakly. Then, more seriously, "Yasaka, what are we going to do? This is only going to get more complicated, isn't it?" "Yes," she admitted. "But Issei, remember you're not alone in this. We're in this together, you and me, and I promise, I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe and help you grow strong enough to protect yourself." Issei felt that warmth in his chest again, Yasaka's presence like a comforting fire. Yeah, his life was complicated now. Yeah, he was probably going to face more danger and craziness than he ever imagined. But he had power now. He had purpose. And he had someone who genuinely cared about him, even if she was a goddess sealed in his soul. Together, huh? Issei smiled. "I think I can work with that." "Good. Because tomorrow, we start your real training. Hope you're ready to work hard. Bring it on." As Issei walked home through the streets of Ko, the setting sun painting the sky orange and gold, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: hope. His life as a Jinchūriki was just beginning, and honestly, he was kind of excited to see where it would go. Little did he know, this was just the start of an adventure that would change not just his life, but the entire supernatural world. Issei woke up at 5 in the morning to the sound of Yasaka's voice in his head. "Time to get up, sleepyhead. We have training to do before school." He groaned and pulled his pillow over his face. It's way too early for this. Normal people sleep until 6 at least. You're not a normal person anymore, Issei. Normal people don't have divine beasts sealed inside them. Now get up, or I'll make your alarm clock explode. You can do that? Want to find out? Issei dragged himself out of bed, muttering about bossy fox goddesses. He threw on some sweatpants and a t-shirt, then quietly snuck downstairs and out the back door to their small yard. The sky was still dark, stars fading as dawn approached. Okay, I'm up, he said quietly, not wanting to wake his parents. What now? Now we start with the basics, Yasaka said. Close your eyes and focus inward. Try to feel the energy inside you. Issei did as she asked, closing his eyes and taking a deep breath. At first, he didn't feel anything different. Just his heartbeat, his breathing, the cool morning air on his skin. But then, slowly, he started to notice something else. A warmth in his chest, right behind his sternum. It pulsed gently, like a second heartbeat. That's your spiritual core, Yasaka explained. Every living being has one, but most humans can't sense it. Yours is special because it's merged with mine. That warmth you feel? That's our combined energy. It feels nice, Issei said. Like drinking hot chocolate on a cold day. He could sense Yasaka's amusement. That's one way to describe divine power. Now I want you to try moving that energy. Imagine it flowing through your body like water through pipes. Don't force it, guide it gently. Issei focused on the warmth and tried to push it outward. At first, nothing happened. Then he felt a tiny trickle of energy move down his arm. It was slow and clumsy, like trying to write with his non-dominant hand, but it was moving. Good, Yasaka encouraged. Keep going. Try to get it all the way to your hand. He concentrated harder, and the trickle became a small stream. The energy flowed down his arm and pooled in his palm. When he opened his eyes, he saw a faint golden glow surrounding his hand. Holy crap, I'm doing it. You are, Yasaka said proudly. That's your first step toward using my power. Right now it's weak, just a tiny fraction of what you're capable of. But with practice, you'll be able to channel much more. They spent the next hour practicing. Yasaka had him move energy to different parts of his body, teaching him to feel the flow and control it. By the time the sun came up, Issei was sweating and exhausted, but he could consistently make his hands glow with golden light. That's enough for today, Yasaka said. You did well, Issei. Most people take weeks to sense their spiritual core, and you managed to manipulate your energy on the first try. Really? Issei wiped sweat from his forehead. Is that because of you? Partly. Our merged core makes your energy stronger and easier to access. But you still have natural talent. Don't sell yourself short. Issei headed inside to shower and get ready for school. As he stood under the hot water, he thought about everything that had happened in the last 2 days. It still felt surreal. He was training to use supernatural powers. He had a goddess living in his soul. Devils and fallen angels knew he existed. Yasaka, he said quietly. Are you okay with all this? What do you mean? I mean, you're sealed inside me. You can't go where you want, can't see your daughter, can't live your own life. Doesn't that bother you? There was a pause before Yasaka answered. Of course it bothers me. I miss Kunu terribly. I miss walking through Kyoto, seeing the cherry blossoms, attending festivals. I miss having a body of my own. Her voice softened. But Issei, I chose this. I sealed myself to protect Kunu and prevent my power from being misused. And honestly? Being bonded to you, it's not as bad as I feared. Not as bad? Wow, high praise, Yasaka laughed. What I mean is, you're kind. You care about others. In 17 years of watching you grow up, I've never seen you intentionally hurt someone. You're perverted, yes, and sometimes you're an idiot, but you have a good heart. If I had to be sealed inside someone, I'm glad it's you. Issei felt his face heat up, and not from the hot water. Thanks, I guess. I'll try to be a good host or whatever. You already are. School that day was weird. Issei kept noticing things he never noticed before. Like how Matsuda had a tiny bit of spiritual energy, not much, but more than a normal human. Or how certain areas of the school felt different, like they had invisible boundaries around them. That's your enhanced senses, Yasaka explained during lunch. My power is making you more aware of the supernatural world. Those boundaries you're feeling? They're probably territory markers set by Rias Gremry. Devils mark their hunting grounds. Hunting grounds? For stray devils and other threats. Don't worry about it for now. But Issei couldn't help worrying about it. He was walking through a world he'd never known existed, surrounded by invisible dangers. During history class, he found himself staring out the window and wondering how many supernatural beings were in Ko. How many devils, how many fallen angels, how many other creatures he didn't even have names for yet. Quite a few, Yasaka answered his unspoken question. Ko sits on a spiritual ley line, a river of natural energy flowing through the earth. Places like this attract supernatural beings. It's probably why the Gremry family claimed this territory. After school, Issei avoided the old school building and headed straight home. He didn't want another conversation with Rias, not yet. He still hadn't figured out how to handle the whole devil situation. Back in his room, he locked the door and sat on his bed. Yasaka, can we go to the mindscape again? I have more questions. Of course. Issei closed his eyes and focused inward, like he'd done during training. This time, instead of moving energy, he just sank deeper into himself. The sensation was like falling backward into warm water. His bedroom faded away, and suddenly he was standing in the shrine complex again. Yasaka was waiting for him by a koi pond, watching the fish swim lazily through the clear water. She looked the same as before, beautiful and elegant in her fox-patterned kimono, 9 tails swaying behind her. But today she seemed a bit sad. What's wrong? Issei asked, sitting down beside her. I was just thinking about Kunu, Yasaka admitted. She should be about 17 now, the same age as you. I wonder what she looks like, what kind of person she's become. Does she remember me? Does she hate me for leaving? Issei didn't know what to say to that. He couldn't imagine growing up without his mom. I'm sure she doesn't hate you. You did what you had to do to protect her, right? I hope she sees it that way. Yasaka was quiet for a moment, then shook her head. But I didn't bring you here to mope. You said you had questions? Yeah, tons of them. Like, what exactly are yokai? And how is being a Jinchūriki different from being a devil? And what other kinds of supernatural beings are out there? And, Yasaka held up a hand, laughing. One at a time, please. Let's start with yokai since that's what I am. She gestured, and images started appearing in the air above the pond, pictures of various creatures and beings. Yokai is a general term for supernatural creatures from Japanese mythology. Kitsune like me, Tengu, Oni, Nikomata, Kappa, we're all yokai. We're nature spirits, essentially, born from the world's natural energy. The images shifted, showing different types of fox spirits. Kitsune are among the most powerful yokai. We gain tails as we age and grow stronger, up to 9 tails maximum. Each tail represents roughly a century of life and accumulated power. I'm over 900 years old, hence 9 tails. 900? Issei's jaw dropped. You're ancient. I prefer experienced, Yasaka said dryly. Anyway, yokai are different from devils, angels, and fallen angels. Those 3 groups are biblical beings. They come from a completely different mythology. Devils live in the underworld, angels in heaven, and fallen angels are stuck in between. They're all involved in this big eternal conflict that's been going on for thousands of years. And where do yokai fit in? We mostly stay out of it. Japan has its own supernatural factions, and we prefer to keep to ourselves. Though some yokai have made alliances with devils or angels over the years, Yasaka's expression turned serious. Now, as for what makes you different from a devil, if you became a devil through Rias's evil pieces, you'd gain demonic power but lose your human nature. You'd need to drink blood or absorb life energy to survive, you'd be weak to holy items, and you'd be bound to serve whoever reincarnated you. That sounds terrible. It's not all bad. Devils get longer lifespans, natural magic ability, and the protection of their master's family. But yes, there are significant downsides. Yasaka looked at him intently. As a Jinchūriki, you keep your humanity. You can eat normal food, go out in sunlight, touch holy objects without burning. But you gain access to my yokai powers: fox fire, illusions, transformation techniques, enhanced physical abilities, and spiritual sensing. The catch is that using too much power at once could let me take control again, like what happened with Rainier. Is that dangerous? Like, could you take over permanently? No, Yasaka said firmly. The seal prevents that. Even if you drew on 100% of my power, I could only control your body temporarily. Once the crisis passed, you'd regain control automatically. I'm trapped in here, Issei. I can't leave your soul unless the seal is broken, and breaking it would probably kill both of us. That was actually reassuring in a weird way. At least he didn't have to worry about Yasaka pulling a body snatcher move on him. So what can I actually do with your powers? Issei asked. Like, what am I learning to do? Yasaka stood up and held out her hand. Golden fire appeared above her palm, dancing and flickering without burning her. This is fox fire, supernatural flames that burn spiritual energy rather than physical matter. It's deadly to supernatural beings but mostly harmless to normal humans and objects. You'll learn to generate and control it. The fire vanished, and suddenly there were 3 Yasakas standing there. This is illusion magic. Kitsune are masters of deception and trickery. You'll learn to create false images, hide your presence, and manipulate what others see and hear. The duplicates faded, and the original Yasaka's form shimmered. For a moment, she looked like a normal human woman with no tails and ordinary brown hair. This is transformation. Kitsune can change their appearance at will. It's not just illusion, we actually reshape our bodies. You'll be able to do the same once you master energy manipulation. She returned to her normal form and smiled. Beyond that, you'll have enhanced strength, speed, and durability compared to normal humans. Your senses are already sharper than they used to be. That'll get even better with training. And eventually, you'll be able to manifest me in a semi-physical form outside your body, so I can fight alongside you or scout ahead. That's actually really cool, Issei admitted. Way better than I expected. There's a reason Jinchūriki are feared and respected in the supernatural world, Yasaka said. A human with the power of a divine beast is a force to be reckoned with. But Issei, you need to understand power attracts attention. The more you use my abilities, the more likely it is that dangerous beings will notice you. Like who? Like the Cows Brigade, a terrorist organization that collects powerful beings and artifacts. Like rogue devils who'd want to capture you and drain my power. Like rival yokai factions who see me as a threat. Yasaka's expression was grim. Even other Jinchūriki, if any, still exist. We're rare, and some see us as competition. Issei swallowed hard. You're really not making this sound appealing. I'm being honest with you. This path isn't easy or safe. But Issei. Yasaka put a hand on his shoulder, and even though they were in a mental space, he could feel the warmth of her touch. You're already on this path whether you like it or not. The moment I manifested to save you from Rainier, words started spreading. You can't go back to being a normal human. Your only choice now is whether you learn to defend yourself or stay weak and hope others protect you. She was right, and Issei knew it. He could either become strong or become a victim. And honestly, after years of being the weakest guy in school, the perverted loser everyone looked down on, the idea of having real power was intoxicating. Teach me, he said. Everything. I want to be strong enough that nobody can hurt me or use me. Yasaka smiled, and her tails wagged slightly. That's the spirit. We'll start with fox fire since you've already got basic energy manipulation down. It'll take time and practice, but I think you've got the potential to be amazing, Issei. They spent the next few hours in the mindscape, with Yasaka teaching him the theory behind fox fire. It wasn't like normal fire, it was condensed spiritual energy shaped and ignited through willpower. The key was visualizing what you wanted the fire to do, then pushing your energy into that form. Don't think of it as burning, Yasaka explained. Think of it as purifying. Fox fire cleanses spiritual corruption and burns away negative energy. That's why it's so effective against devils and fallen angels. Their very nature is spiritually corrupt from a yokai perspective. Is that why Rainier died so fast? Exactly. Fallen angels are beings who rejected their holy nature and fell from grace. Fox fire burns away that corruption, leaving nothing behind. Yasaka demonstrated again, creating a small flame. Try it. Focus on the energy in your hand and imagine it igniting. Issei held out his hand and concentrated. He could feel the energy pooling in his palm, warm and ready. He imagined it bursting into flame, pictured golden fire dancing above his skin. For a second, nothing happened. Then his hand started to glow brighter, and a tiny spark appeared above his palm. It flickered weakly, barely the size of a candle flame, but it was there. I did it! Issei grinned at the tiny fire. You did, Yasaka said warmly. That's excellent progress for your first attempt. Most people can't create even a spark without weeks of practice. The flame sputtered out after a few seconds, and Issei felt tired. Why am I exhausted? We're in my mind, not the real world. Mental training is still training. Your soul is learning these techniques, and that takes energy. Don't worry, the more you practice, the easier it'll get. Yasaka gestured around them. We should probably wrap up for today. You've been in here for hours, and your body needs rest. Issei nodded and let himself drift back to consciousness. When he opened his eyes, he was lying on his bed and it was dark outside. His mom was calling him for dinner. Over the next week, Issei fell into a routine. Wake up at 5, train with Yasaka in the backyard until sunrise. Go to school and try to act normal, while his enhanced senses picked up on all sorts of supernatural weirdness around him. Come home, do homework, then spend hours in the mindscape learning theory and practicing techniques. It was exhausting, but Issei was making progress. By the end of the first week, he could create fox fire the size of a baseball and maintain it for almost a minute. His energy manipulation had improved too. He could now channel power through his entire body at once, making himself faster and stronger. You're doing really well, Yasaka told him during one training session. At this rate, you'll be ready for basic combat training in another week or two. Combat training? Issei perked up. You mean like actual fighting? Eventually. First you need to master the fundamentals. No point learning fancy techniques if you can't throw a proper punch. Yasaka tilted her head thoughtfully. Though we might need to speed up your training schedule. I've been sensing increased supernatural activity around Ko lately. Something's going on. She was right. Issei had noticed the 2 more devils moving around at night, strange energy signatures appearing and disappearing, the feeling of being watched when he walked home from school. It was like the whole town was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The situation came to a head on Friday afternoon. Issei was walking home when he felt a familiar presence behind him. He turned to see Rias Gremory standing there, her crimson hair bright in the afternoon sun. Hello, Issei, she said politely. We need to talk. About what? About the stray devil that's been hiding in the old factory district. And about the fact that it's been watching you specifically. Rias's expression was serious. I don't know what you are, but that stray seems to think you're valuable. It's going to attack you soon, probably tonight. I'm offering you protection. In exchange for becoming your servant? In exchange for letting me help you survive, Rias corrected. The offer to join my peerage still stands, but right now I'm just concerned about keeping you alive. Stray devils are vicious and unpredictable. You can't handle one alone. Issei felt Yasaka's attention focus on the conversation. She's not lying, Yasaka said in his mind. I've sensed that stray too. It's powerful, probably a middle-class devil that went rogue. Definitely more than you can handle right now. So what do I do? Accept her help for tonight. We can figure out the rest later. Issei looked at Rias and nodded. Okay. What's the plan? Rias seemed surprised he'd agreed so easily, but she recovered quickly. Come to the old school building at midnight. My peerage will be hunting the stray, and you should be there where we can protect you. Just stay out of the way and let us handle it. I can do that. Good. Rias turned to leave, then paused. Issei, I meant what I said before. Whatever you are, whatever power is inside you, you don't have to face this world alone. Think about my offer. She walked away, leaving Issei standing on the street corner. He continued home, his mind racing. She seems sincere, Yasaka mused. Devils aren't usually known for their altruism, but Rias Gremory has a good reputation. She treats her servants well and doesn't abuse her power. Do you think I should join her peerage? That's your decision, not mine. But Issei, you should know becoming a devil would change you fundamentally. You'd no longer age normally, you'd need different sustenance, and you'd be bound by devil politics and hierarchy. Is that what you want? Issei thought about it as he walked home. Did he want to become a devil? Give up his humanity for power and protection? It was tempting, especially knowing he was in danger, but something about it felt wrong, like he'd be giving up something important. I don't think I want that, he finally said. I mean, I want to be stronger, but I don't want to stop being human. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, Yasaka said warmly. And you don't need to become a devil to be strong, Issei. You have me. We can make you powerful enough to stand on your own, without selling your soul to anyone. That night, Issei snuck out of his house at 11:30 and made his way to the old school building. The campus was dark and empty, lit only by moonlight. As he approached, he saw Rias and her peerage waiting outside. You came, Rias said, sounding relieved. Good. Stay close to Kaneko, she's my rook and the strongest defender I have. The small white-haired girl from before stepped forward. She looked Issei up and down with golden eyes, then nodded. Stay behind me. Don't do anything stupid. Wasn't planning on it, Issei muttered. They didn't have to wait long. At exactly midnight a roar echoed through the school grounds. From the shadows near the old gymnasium, a massive figure emerged. It looked like it had once been human, but corruption had twisted it into something monstrous 10 feet tall with elongated limbs, razor claws, and a mouth full of jagged teeth. There's our target, Rias said calmly. Akino, Kiba, Kaneko standard formation. I'll provide support. Her peerage moved with practiced coordination. The blonde guy Kiba drew a sword from thin air and engaged the stray in close combat. The black-haired girl Akino hung back and fired bolts of lightning from her hands. Kaneko moved to shield Issei, her small frame radiating surprising power. The battle was intense but one-sided. The stray devil was strong, but Rias's peerage was stronger and better coordinated. Within minutes, they had it cornered and wounded. That's when everything went wrong. The stray devil's eyes locked onto Issei, and something like recognition flashed across its twisted face. You, it growled in a voice like grinding stone. You smell like the fox. The nine-tailed one. If I devour you, I'll take her power. It lunged, moving faster than something that size should be able to move. Kaneko tried to intercept, but the stray batted her aside like a doll. Kiba and Akino were too far away to help. The creature's claws reached for Issei's throat. Time seemed to slow down. Issei felt fear spike through him, but also something else, anger. This thing wanted to kill him, wanted to devour him and steal Yasaka's power. Like hell was he going to let that happen? Yasaka, he thought desperately. I need help. Then take it, she replied. Draw on my power, Issei. Don't hold back. Issei reached inside himself and pulled on the warm energy in his chest. It flooded through him like a wave, golden light erupting from his body. The stray's claws met a barrier of pure foxfire and burned away to ash. What? The creature stumbled back, confused and in pain. Issei didn't give it time to recover. Operating on instinct and Yasaka's guidance, he thrust his hand forward. A torrent of golden flames shot from his palm, engulfing the stray devil completely. The creature screamed as foxfire consumed it, burning away the corruption until nothing remained but ash scattered on the wind. Silence fell over the school grounds. Issei stood there, breathing hard, his hands still glowing with residual energy. Rias and her peerage stared at him in shock. What was that? Rias breathed. That power, that's not devil magic. That's not any magic I recognize. Issei looked at his hand, watching the golden light fade. It's foxfire. Yokai magic. Yokai? Rias's eyes widened. You're a Jinchūriki, aren't you? A human host for a yokai spirit. But which yokai would be powerful enough to? Her eyes went even wider. The nine-tailed fox. You're the Jinchūriki of Yasaka? There was no point denying it now. Issei nodded. That's incredible, Rias said slowly. Yasaka disappeared 17 years ago. Everyone thought she'd been killed or gone into hiding. But she sealed herself inside a human child? She looked at Issei with new respect. No wonder you refused my offer. You already have power that rivals a high-class devil. I'm still learning to use it, Issei admitted. That was basically my first real fight. Your first? Rias shook her head in amazement. Most people would train for years before they could generate fox fire that strong. You're either incredibly talented or Yasaka is an excellent teacher. Both, Yasaka said smugly in Issei's mind. Before Issei could respond, he felt exhaustion hit him like a truck. Using that much power at once had drained him completely. His legs gave out, and he would have collapsed if Kaneko hadn't caught him. Easy, the small girl said, her voice softer than before. You overdid it. Story of my life, Issei mumbled, fighting to stay conscious. Rias approached him, her expression thoughtful. Issei, I'm withdrawing my offer to make you a devil. You clearly don't need it, and honestly, I'm not sure the evil pieces would even work on someone bonded to a divine beast. She smiled. But I'd still like to be your friend and ally. What you have inside you is valuable and dangerous. You'll need friends in the supernatural world. Friends? Issei looked up at her. Not servants? Friends, Rias confirmed. Equals? What do you say? Issei thought about it. He was exhausted, confused, and way out of his depth. But Rias seemed genuine, and having allies who understood the supernatural world would be helpful. Yeah, he said. Friends sounds good. Excellent. Rias helped Kaneko support him. Let's get you home. We can talk more when you've recovered. As they walked through the dark streets, Issei felt Yasaka's presence in his mind, warm and proud. You did well tonight, Issei. Really well, thanks. Couldn't have done it without you. We're a team, remember? You and me against the world. Issei smiled despite his exhaustion. Yeah, they were a team. A perverted teenage boy and an ancient fox goddess, bound together by a seal and growing closer every day. It was weird and complicated, but somehow it felt right. He was starting to realize that being a Jinchūriki might not be so bad after all. The weekend after the stray devil incident was supposed to be relaxing. Issei had planned to sleep in, play some video games, and maybe practice his fox fire in the backyard when his parents weren't looking. Instead, he woke up Saturday morning to find Rias Gremory sitting in his kitchen, drinking tea with his mother. Mom, what's going on? Issei asked, standing in the doorway in his pajamas. Oh, Issei. Your girlfriend came to visit, his mom said cheerfully. She's so polite. Why didn't you tell me you were dating the most beautiful girl in school? I'm not, we're not, Issei sputtered, his face turning red. Rias smiled innocently, clearly enjoying his discomfort. Good morning, Issei. I hope you don't mind me dropping by. I wanted to check on you after the other night. His mom's expression turned concerned. Other night? Were you two out late? Issei, you know you have a curfew. We were just studying, Rias said smoothly. For the history test coming up. Issei's been helping me understand some of the material. The idea of Rias Gremory, who probably had perfect grades, needing help from Issei was ridiculous. But his mom bought it completely, beaming with pride. That's wonderful. I'll leave you two alone to talk. I need to run to the store anyway. She grabbed her purse and headed out, leaving Issei and Rias alone in the kitchen. The moment the door closed, Issei turned to Rias. What are you doing here? Like I said, checking on you? Rias's playful expression faded into something more serious. You used a lot of power the other night, Issei. Too much for someone who's barely trained. I wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm fine, Issei said, sitting down across from her. Tired, but fine. And Yasaka? How is she? It was weird hearing someone talk about Yasaka like she was a real person they could check on. She's good. We've been training every day, I can tell. Your spiritual energy is much stronger than it was a week ago. Rias studied him carefully. Issei, I meant what I said about being friends. But I need to know, what are your plans? Are you going to keep living as a human, or are you planning to join the yokai faction? I honestly don't know, Issei admitted. I'm just trying to survive day by day right now. Let me ask Yasaka something, Yasaka's voice said in his head. I'm curious about what she really wants. Issei felt a shift in his perception, like someone adjusting a camera lens. Suddenly Yasaka was seeing through his eyes, using his senses to observe Rias directly. Hello, Yasaka, Rias said, apparently noticing the change in Issei's expression. It's an honor to meet you, even if only indirectly. I've heard many stories about the great nine-tailed fox of Kyoto. The honor is mine, Ryasaka, Yasaka spoke through Issei's mouth, her voice overlaying his. Your family has a good reputation among the yokai. Your father is known as a fair and honorable devil. Issei felt weird being a passenger in his own body, but he stayed quiet and let Yasaka talk. I'll be direct, Yasaka continued. Why are you really interested in Issei? Is it just because of my power, or is there something else? Rias didn't flinch from the direct question. Initially, yes, it was because of your power. A Jinchūriki is rare and valuable, but after seeing how Issei handled himself the other night, and how you two work together. She paused. I see potential. Not just power, but genuine potential for growth. And more than that, I see someone who might need allies in a world that will try to use him. Good answer, Yasaka said, and Issei felt her approval. Very well. I'll trust you, Ryasaka, but know this: if you betray that trust, if you try to manipulate or harm Issei in any way, I will find a way to make you regret it. Seal or no seal. Understood, Rias said seriously. I wouldn't expect anything less from a mother protecting her child. Issei isn't my child, Yasaka said, but there was something soft in her voice. But he is precious to me. Then Yasaka retreated, and Issei was fully in control again. He blinked a few times, adjusting to being the only one in the driver's seat. Sorry about that, he said. She can be a bit protective. Don't apologize. It's actually reassuring. Rias stood up. I should go. But Issei, if you ever need help or just want to talk about the supernatural world, you know where to find me. The door to the old school building is always open. After Rias left, Issei went back to his room and flopped onto his bed. That was intense. She's trustworthy, Yasaka said. I can sense these things. She genuinely wants to help you, not just use you for my power. That's good, I guess. Still weird having a devil as a friend. You'd better get used to weird, Issei. Your life is only going to get stranger from here. Yasaka was right, as usual. That afternoon, while Issei was practicing energy control in his backyard, he felt a new presence approaching. This one was different from the devil energy he'd sensed from Rias. It was wilder, more primal, and somehow familiar. A small figure appeared at his back fence. It was a girl who looked about middle school age, with blonde hair and fox ears poking out from the top of her head. She wore a traditional kimono and had a fluffy foxtail swishing behind her. Her golden eyes stared at Issei with a mixture of confusion and hope. Mom? The girl said quietly. Is that you I'm sensing? Issei's heart stopped. He knew who this had to be even before Yasaka gasped in his mind. Kunu, Yasaka whispered. That's my daughter. The girl Kunu jumped the fence easily and walked closer to Issei. She was sniffing the air like an actual fox, her ears twitching. You smell like my mother. You have her energy inside you. What are you, some kind of thief who stole her power? No, nothing like that. Issei raised his hands defensively. I can explain, just please don't attack me or anything. Kunu's eyes narrowed dangerously, and golden fox fire started forming around her hands. Then explain. Now. Where is my mother, and why do you have her energy? I'm right here, sweetheart, Yasaka said, taking partial control of Issei's voice again. Kunu, it's really me. The fox fire vanished. Kunu's eyes went wide, and her ears flattened against her head. Mom? But you're inside this human? How? Why? It's a long story. One I need to tell you properly. Yasaka looked through Issei's eyes at her daughter, and he could feel the emotions flooding through her: joy, sadness, love, guilt, all tangled together. Can you give me a few minutes? I need to manifest properly. You can do that? Issei asked, surprised. With enough power, yes. It'll drain you, though. Are you okay with that? For this? Yeah, absolutely. Issei felt Yasaka draw deeply on their shared energy. Golden light erupted from his body, so bright he had to close his eyes. When he opened them again, he was standing in his backyard looking at two figures: Kunu, who was staring with tears in her eyes, and a semi-transparent form of Yasaka herself, glowing with golden light. She looked exactly like she did in the mindscape, beautiful and regal with 9 tails swaying behind her. But here in the real world she was translucent, like a ghost made of light. Mom! Kunu ran forward and tried to hug Yasaka, but her arms went right through the spirit form. Why can't I touch you? Because I'm not fully here, baby. I'm still sealed inside Issei. This is just a projection, like an astral form. Yasaka knelt down to be at eye level with her daughter, even though Kunu had grown significantly since she'd last seen her. Look at you. You're so big now. So beautiful. Don't change the subject, Kunu said, tears streaming down her face. Where have you been? Do you know how worried I was? Everyone said you died or abandoned us, and I didn't know what to believe, and I missed you so much. I know. Yasaka looked heartbroken. I'm so sorry, Kunu. I never wanted to leave you, but there was a threat coming, and the only way to protect you and prevent my power from being misused was to seal myself away. Inside a human? Kunu looked at Issei, and there was hostility in her gaze. Why him? Because he was being born at the right time, in the right place, with the right spiritual composition to host me, Yasaka explained. It wasn't random, Kunu. The ritual required specific conditions. Issei was the only option. Kunu looked between her mother and Issei, confusion and anger warring on her face. So you've been inside him this whole time? For 17 years? While I was alone? You weren't alone, Yasaka said softly. You had the other yokai leaders, your tutors, your friends, but I didn't have my mother. Kunu's voice cracked. Do you know what it's like growing up without you? Having to lead our faction at 10 years old because everyone expected me to be just like you. I needed you, Mom. The pain in Kunu's voice made Issei's chest hurt. He could feel Yasaka's guilt and sorrow through their bond, overwhelming and suffocating. I know, Yasaka said, her own voice breaking. I know I failed you as a mother. I made a choice to save the many at the cost of hurting the one person I loved most. If I could go back and find another way, I would. But Kunu, please understand I did this because I love you. Everything I've done has been to keep you safe. Kunu was crying openly now, her fox ears drooping. I just want my mom back. I know, sweetheart. I want that too. Issei felt like an intruder watching this reunion. He started to back away, to give them some privacy, but Yasaka's voice stopped him. Don't go, Issei. You're part of this too. Kunu turned to look at him properly for the first time, really seeing him instead of just seeing him as the person who had her mother. You're Issei Hayadu? The perverted loser from Ko Academy? I prefer student with a bad reputation, Issei said weakly. But yeah, that's me. And my mother has been sealed inside you for 17 years? Since I was born, apparently. I only found out about it last week though. Kunu studied him carefully, her yokai senses clearly picking up on the energy signature. You're treating her well? She's not suffering or trapped in pain? He's been nothing but kind, Yasaka answered before Issei could. In 17 years of being bonded to him, I've never once felt threatened or mistreated. He's a good person, Kunu. I'm really just doing my best, Issei said honestly. This is all new to me too. But your mom has been helping me a lot, teaching me how to survive in the supernatural world. We're partners, Kunu repeated slowly. She walked closer to Issei, looking up at him. She was small, barely reaching his shoulder, but there was an intensity in her gaze that reminded him of Yasaka. If you're my mother's partner, then what does that make you to me? That was a good question. What was their relationship? He had Kunu's mother living in his soul. Did that make him like a stepfather? A guardian? A friend? I don't know, Issei admitted. But I want to help if I can. Your mom talks about you all the time. She misses you a lot. Kunu's expression softened slightly. She does, all the time, Yasaka confirmed. You're the first thing I think about every morning and the last thing I think about every night. I've missed watching you grow up more than I can say. Mother and daughter stared at each other, and something passed between them, understanding, maybe, or at least the beginning of forgiveness. Then Kunu turned back to Issei. If my mother is sealed inside you, can she be released? Is there a way to free her? I don't know, Issei said. We haven't really talked about that yet. There might be, Yasaka said slowly, her translucent form shimmering. But it would be dangerous. The seal was designed to be permanent, to keep my power contained and safe. Breaking it could kill both me and Issei, or it could release my power in an uncontrolled way that destroys everything around us. So you're stuck, Kuna said flatly. For now, yes. Kuna was quiet for a long moment. Then she took a deep breath and seemed to make a decision. Okay. I don't like this situation, but I understand why you did it, Mom. And if this human Issei is treating you well and helping you, then I won't cause problems. She looked at Issei sternly. But I'm going to be watching you. If I find out you're mistreating my mother or trying to use her power for evil, I'll make you regret it. That's fair, Issei said. I'd do the same if I were you. Yasaka's projection was starting to flicker, the energy needed to maintain it running out. I'm fading. Kanu, before I go, are you safe? Are the yokai factions treating you well? I'm fine, Mom. The elders respect me, and I've made allies. Don't worry about me. Kuna smiled, though it was sad. Just focus on staying safe yourself, okay? And maybe I can visit sometimes? Talk to you through Issei? I'd like that very much, Yasaka said warmly. I love you, Kanu. Never forget that. I love you too, Mom. The golden light flared once more, then faded completely. Yasaka's projection vanished, retreating back into Issei's soul. He stumbled slightly, feeling the drain from channeling that much power, but caught himself. Sorry, he said to Kanu. She can only manifest for short periods right now. It takes a lot of energy. It's okay. At least I got to see her. Kanu wiped her eyes. So what now? Are you just going to keep living as a human and pretending everything's normal? Pretty much. I'm still going to school, still living with my parents. The only difference is now I'm training with your mom to control her powers. Kanu nodded thoughtfully. The supernatural world is going to come after you, you know. Devils, fallen angels, rogue yokai, everyone's going to want a piece of you once word spreads that you're Yasaka's Jinchūriki. Yeah, I'm starting to figure that out. You'll need protection. Training isn't enough. Kuna pulled out what looked like a charm on a string. Here. This is a ward key to my spiritual energy. If you're ever in serious danger and need help, crush it. I'll sense it and come running, no matter where I am. Issei took the charm carefully. Thank you? That's actually really helpful. Don't thank me. I'm not doing it for you, I'm doing it for my mother. If you die, she might die too, and I just got her back. But Kunu's expression wasn't as hostile as her words. Though I guess if you're important to my mom, I should at least try to keep you alive. I'll take what I can get. They exchanged contact information. Apparently even yokai princesses had cell phones and could have prepared to leave. But before she jumped back over the fence, she turned to Issei one more time. Take care of her, she said quietly. My mother is the strongest person I know, but even she needs someone to lean on sometimes. Be that person for her, okay? I will, Issei promised. I swear. Kuna nodded and vanished in a blur of golden light, heading back toward Kyoto. Issei stood in his backyard for a moment, processing everything that had just happened. That went better than expected, Yasaka said in his mind. She sounded emotionally exhausted but happy. Your daughter is scary, Issei said. She threatened me like 3 times. She's protective. She gets that from me. There was amusement in Yasaka's voice now. But she likes you, I can tell. She wouldn't have given you that ward if she didn't. Really? Because it seemed like she was ready to roast me with foxfire. That's just how kitsune show affection, through threats and tricks. Yasaka laughed. You'll get used to it. Issei went back inside, his head spinning. In the span of one day, he'd had a devil visit his house, met his resident goddess's daughter, and gotten a magical emergency beacon. His life was getting more complicated by the hour. The complications continued on Monday at school. Issei was sitting in class, trying to focus on the teacher's lecture about the Meiji Restoration, when he felt a familiar prickle of supernatural energy. Someone was watching him again. He glanced around casually and spotted someone new in the hallway, a girl with long black hair and violet eyes, wearing what looked like a school uniform from a different academy. She was staring directly at him through the classroom window. That's a fallen angel, Yasaka said immediately, her mental voice sharp. And a strong one. Stronger than Rainier was. Before Issei could react, the girl smiled and waved at him, then vanished. Just disappeared like she'd never been there. What was that about? Nothing good, Yasaka said grimly. The fallen angels are definitely interested in you. We need to be careful. At lunch, Issei met up with Rias in the courtyard. She'd sent him a text saying they needed to talk urgently. When he found her, she looked worried. We have a problem, Rias said without preamble. The fallen angels are making moves. They've set up a base in an abandoned church on the edge of town, and they've been asking about you specifically. Yeah, I noticed. One of them was watching me during class. That was probably Middlet. She's one of the fallen angels working under Kokabeel, a cadre-level fallen angel and one of their leaders. Rias shook her head. Issei, this is serious. If Kokabeel is interested in you, it means they have big plans. Plans that probably involve extracting Yasaka from you, even if it kills you in the process. Issei felt a chill run down his spine. So what do I do? You have a few options. 1. You could go into hiding. The yokai faction would probably protect you if Kuna asked. 2. You could accept protection from my family. We'd keep you safe in exchange for an alliance. Or 3. Rias hesitated. 3. You could fight. Learn to use Yasaka's power well enough that you can defend yourself against anything they throw at you. I vote for option 3, Yasaka said in Issei's mind. Hiding isn't living, and I don't want you indebted to the devils or yokai. We should become strong enough to stand on our own. How long would that take? Issei asked. Months at least. Maybe years to reach your full potential. Rias looked at him seriously. But you don't have months, Issei. You have weeks at best before the fallen angels make their move. Then I'll train harder. Every day, all day if I have to. Issei felt determination settle over him. I'm not going to run, and I'm not going to hide. If they want to come after me, they'd better be ready for a fight. Rias smiled, looking impressed. That's the spirit. And you won't be alone. My peerage will help defend you if it comes to battle. We're friends, remember? Thank you. Really. That night, Issei pushed himself harder than ever in training. Yasaka taught him more advanced techniques: how to create barriers of foxfire, how to enhance his physical abilities with yokai energy, how to sense danger before it arrived. They worked until Issei collapsed from exhaustion, then rested and started again. You're going to burn yourself out, Yasaka warned after the third night of this intense schedule. I don't have a choice, Issei panted, sweat dripping down his face as he practiced forming foxfire in both hands simultaneously. You said it yourself, we don't have much time. I know, but pushing too hard can be just as dangerous as not pushing hard enough. Your body and soul need time to adapt to my power. Issei knew she was right, but he couldn't shake the feeling of urgency. Every time he closed his eyes, he imagined fallen angels coming for him, imagined dying because he wasn't strong enough to protect himself. Hey, Yasaka's voice turned gentle. Look at me. In the mindscape, now. Issei stopped training and sank into his inner world. When he appeared in the shrine complex, Yasaka was waiting for him. She walked over and put her hands on his shoulders. You're scared, she said. It wasn't a question. Of course I'm scared. I'm 17 years old, and people want to kill me for something I didn't even choose. I'm terrified. Good. Fear will keep you alive if you use it right. Yasaka's golden eyes were kind. But don't let fear control you, Issei. You're not alone in this. We're partners, remember? Whatever comes, we'll face it together. Together, Issei repeated, and felt some of the tension leave his shoulders. Yeah. You and me against the world. Exactly. Yasaka smiled. Now let's get you some actual rest. Tomorrow we'll work on combination techniques, ways for us to fight as one unit instead of you just using my power. That night, Issei slept better than he had in days. And when he woke up the next morning, he felt ready for whatever was coming. The fallen angels, the devils, the supernatural politics, let them all come. He was Issei Hayadu, Jinchūriki of the nine-tailed fox Yasaka. He had power, he had allies, and he had determination. Whatever the supernatural world threw at him, he'd find a way to survive. He had to, because somewhere inside him, a goddess was counting on him. And Issei would rather die than let her down.